This is ridiculous. The Boston Celtics have constant rumors with Jrue Holiday, knowing that they do have to get off of his contract, being in the second apron, and a lot of teams are interested in Jrue Holiday, one of them being Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks. And what would a trade like that look like with all of these rumors bouncing around with Jrue Holiday included in them? Well, I'm here to tell you guys what a lot of people are saying, and if they even work out, and what trade that I made out of nowhere. It took me a long time to figure something out that'll work for these teams, and I found a way to do it. And guys, with that being said, welcome back to another video here on Celtics Digest. I am Patrick Billings. It is good to be back. A little vacation, but here we are talking Boston Celtics basketball once again. And what better to talk about than a little bit of a trade, and something that the Celtics would definitely benefit off of, having to get off of Jrue Holiday's contracts. But before we get into any of that, guys, if you're loving what Bruce and I are doing here on Celtics Digest, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You guys have been showing a lot of love on all of our videos, and we totally love it. We love all the comments that you guys are dropping down below. Drop a trust Brad Stevens down below in the comments. If you believe in Brad Stevens, he's done a lot for our team. It's going to be a weird offseason, guys. Just got to believe in Brad and all the moves that he makes, and he always knows how to make the right move at the right time. But with that being said, let's get right into this one. So Jrue Holiday has a lot of interest across the league, and one of those teams being the Dallas Mavericks. And of course, like we say in a lot of the videos and a lot of the live streams that we've been doing, I think every team is interested in Jrue Holiday, and I mean, who wouldn't be? He's a top-tier defender, and he is just an incredible, incredible player on both ends of the floor. Definitely played a pivotal part in the Celtics offense and defense this season and the season before that. But they're going to have to move off of his contract if we're being realistic, guys, and it's going to be an interesting offseason, like I said. But let's look at some of the rumors that are being talked about, and one of them being the Dallas Mavericks. And this one is interesting. So this comes from an article bringing up about this Jrue Holiday trade. We've seen a bunch just sending Jrue Holiday for these two players, and Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. But a lot of things need to happen for this to happen. So let's go through this one first, and then I'll explain. Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Drew Timme. We got the $32.4 million trade exception from Jrue Holiday, a $2.5 million trade exception from Xavier Tillman, $2.4 million trade exception from the Mies Keita, and a $2.2 million trade exception from KP. And that'll all be going to the Celtics. And then the Mavericks would receive Jrue Holiday and a $3 million trade exception from Olivier Maxence Prosper. And the Nets would receive Kristaps Porziņģis, Dwight Powell, Olivier Maxence Prosper, Xavier Tillman, Mies Keita, a 2026 projected first-round pick from the Celtics, and a 2027 first-round pick swap from the Celtics. So, if you guys know, if you guys were in the live stream with Bruce and I, we did a bunch of trade little generators to see what would work out for the Boston Celtics. And when I went onto this website, I couldn't even put everything in because nothing worked, and a lot of these players can't be traded like Drew Timme. So this trade already is a bust. But with that being said, there's a lot of things that have to go into this and why it's not possible to, because this is due to second apron restrictions. Kind of reading off some stuff here because it's a lot of information. So with the second apron restrictions, the Celtics can't send out multiple salaries, but they also can't receive more salary than they are giving out because they are in that second apron. And that's what's so tough about the second apron, is that you can't really trade multiple guys and you can't absorb more salary than you're giving out. So that is also an issue. But they can trade less salary and get less salary back. They could trade and make less salary back, of course, because then they get a little bit lower in the cap and to slowly be able to get back into that first apron, which is something that you definitely want to be in. But again, the Celtics are in a terrible, terrible situation when it comes to this new cap situation, as there's so many things going on. But I did figure out a trade, guys, that can get the Celtics PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. It took me about 45 minutes to think of this. I tried to use the Nets, but then there was one team that I thought about that maybe, just maybe, they would pick up some of these contracts and some of these players. It might be a little bit small, but I'm going to read it all for you here because I put a lot of work into this one. So the Celtics would be getting PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Washington's second-round pick in 2025. Then we got the Washington Wizards acquiring Olivier Maxence Prosper and the Celtics' first-round pick this year Then we got the Mavericks getting Jrue Holiday and Colby Jones. And that is a successful trade. And you probably think, why would the Wizards want to be involved in this? Well, they get Olivier Maxence Prosper, who is still a young player in this league, not really getting a lot of opportunity to play too many games in his first 2 seasons, playing about 52 games and 45 games around there, and starting only a handful of those as well. But he has a lot of room to grow, and I think that somewhere in Washington is where that a place that he can grow and something that they'd be interested in, as well as that first round pick this year for the Boston Celtics. It is a 28th pick in the first round, but they could also use that to move around in the draft. Of course, if this happened before the draft in about a month. So it's something to think about for the Wizards as they're trying to kind of figure out their roster. They want to get younger. They want to test out some guys because they could hit on a bunch. They've got a couple of picks, and maybe, like I said, they can combine this one and move up a little bit more and just use it for more draft kind of situations. And I think that's something that the Wizards would be interested in. And then we look at a guy in Colby Jones. He definitely plays some good basketball. He can play both sides of the floor, standing about 6'6", comes out of Xavier. As a Villanova fan, he definitely killed us a decent amount of time, so I know how good of a player he is. And I mean, the Mavericks are getting Jrue Holiday, and then they're just picking up another player in Colby Jones. So I think that this is definitely something that would work out well. But on the Boston Celtics side of things, you get Daniel Gafford and you get PJ Washington. They do have to end up letting someone off of their roster, but they do have a couple of free agents, so I didn't really add that into play in this just because one of these guys is going to be off of the roster. They have a couple of minimum guys, maybe like a Torrey Craig gets waived, and then that means the trade goes through. I think this is something that would actually go down, and I think works out for all 3 teams. The Wizards get the pick and a young player who can actually kind of see how he will fit in the league. The Mavericks get Jrue Holiday, one of the best guard defenders we've seen in this decade. Colby Jones, a long, lengthy guard who could do things on both sides of the court. And then the Celtics, I mean, they get depth at the forward position with PJ Washington, and they get Daniel Gafford, so they actually have a great center who could shoot the ball well down low and be a lob threat. I mean, guys, this is an awesome pickup if you're the Boston Celtics. And if we could just look a little bit here at PJ Washington this season, 14.7 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game on 2.3 assists, and shot 45.3 from the field, and I believe he shot a career high from 3 at 38%. And then we got Daniel Gafford, 12.3 points per game, about 7 rebounds a game, and 1.4 assists a game, shooting 70% from the field, and that's what you love to see. He actually almost broke the record for most straight field goals made in a season, so I think that is something that the Celtics are interested in. But if you look at a guy like PJ Washington, I mean, with no Jayson Tatum to start the season at least, and maybe not all season, we're not too sure about what's going on with that whole situation, of course, but he could definitely pick up some slack, and he's no slouch, so I think that'd be an awesome pickup for the Celtics, and he'd definitely be able to fit in with this roster very easily. I think this is a guy that the Celtics have been in rumors for trading for, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to kind of retool instead of rebuild, and then be able to kind of trade some pieces like a Porziņģis still and re-sign some guys. And it gives them the opportunity to kind of slowly get out of that second apron. And I think this is a very interesting trade that could definitely go down and be perfect for all 3 of these teams. Guys, let me know what you think of this trade in the comments. Do you think this is something that you could actually see happening? This exact trade. Put some work into it. Hopefully some GMs will see it and they'll pick it up. But I'd love for this to happen. Drop some trade ideas down low. Let me know if you think Daniel Gafford's the guy or if there's a different route the Celtics should be going. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video, and let's go Boston Celtics. See you guys in the next one.